playing M to the third power by Nunez. It's a great piece. It's one that I would love to do with the Honor Orchestra this year, but it's going to take a little bit of practice. The notes themselves are actually pretty easy. A lot of it fits with the minor finger pattern, just using your second finger. Every once in a while we'll have those B flats, so we have to make sure we're doing the extension for the low finger pattern. But other than that, it kind of all falls into place. This piece basically has two sections as far as bow strokes go. You should have a very martelé or marcato sound, so very short and jabby sounds, so very chippy. Right, and the first note should start up bow. So we're going to mark that in. Make sure you start up bow and a very chippy sound, so short. And then for that whole thing with the mixed meter, when we go from 3/8 to 2/4 to 3/8 to back to 2/4, that whole section there, first of all, we have to count it accurately. So in the 3/8 time, we're counting the eighth notes. So you should feel 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and then when you move to 3/8, it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So all the eighth notes stay consistent. So 1 and 2 and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, right? So it's just going back and forth between 4/8 notes versus 3/8 notes. 1 and 2 and 1, 2, 3, 1 and 2 and 1, 2, 3, right? So it gives it a very unique feel with that mixed meter in there. And then to do this accurately, you want to make sure that we're trying to keep it all on the G string, and then every time we do that extension for the C sharp, the very next note we should move the first finger there, and then you don't have to extend for the E because you're in high third position. And then you just move back to first position for measure 13. So you have 1, 2, 3, 1 and 2 and 1, 2, 3, 1 and 2 and 1, right? So it's something to practice and getting used to doing that high third position and getting in and out, because it does come twice in the piece and you want to be sure that you're accurate with it. So practice that section, get really good at it, and then when you go on, measure 13 is very similar to the beginning. Then we come to that same mixed meter, and instead of shifting back down to first position, we're just going to shift down a half step and go to the D string. So, and then move to D string, right? So when you do this, 4, 1, 4, 1, and then shift back just a half step on the D string. So you're on the G. And then from there it's slur 2, 1, 3, and then 4, 3, 1, 3, and shift back for the F, right? That way we don't have any funny string crossings and we mix up our bowings. So it's kind of hard to get those positions, but when you spend the time on it and you get that one little section, those 4 bars mastered, the rest of the piece becomes easy. 27, we're back to this mixed meter feel, and we're doing pizzicato. So it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, rest 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, and that's a fermata, and you'll hear the violins come in on 2E and then you come in. Very much like the beginning. And then we don't play the dee-da, be-da here. We just do 1, measure 60, I wasn't sure if I played too many in the recording, but I might have. 60 is rest. Sorry, I just almost did it again. Now, this whole little section here, first of all, the first 4 bars of 60, start forte and then really push those up bows. Rest. Sorry. Each accent has to come out, so you're playing right after the basses. 1. And then for this whole little section starting at 60, 1, 2, 3, 4, it's basically the tune that you share with the violas, and the basses are playing along with you. No violins. And then when you play this, it's a lot of the same notes. So if you notice, the D is doubled, the F is doubled, the E is doubled, the F is doubled again. So if you're having a hard time getting all the little notes in there, just take out the doubles and play it as a single 8th note. So instead of 2 Ds, just play 1 D. Right, until you get to 73. But what I would recommend is when you get to the 3/8, it's a down, up, up, down, up, up, down, up, up, down, so that the bowing is pretty consistent. Then once you get that and you feel comfortable with those notes, start putting the doubles in. But when you do the doubles, put a pause between each change of pitch. So you're going to put a pause between the D and the F. Once you can do it with the pauses, start taking out the pauses and just do it with fluency. Right, and then it keeps going on. When you get to the 3/8 part, be aware of the accent. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, right? So you have to try and pull out those accents. And then do the crescendo, and then immediately piano. Dynamically, you want to make those contrasts. Sometimes the cello makes a funny sound, although I think it's just Mr. Kaye. But again, I'm not a cellist, so I can't really play it with that much finesse. But I understand the music, and you want to make sure that you're trying to play it musically as you're doing all this. And of course, the more practice, the better it'll be. When you get to measure 73, it's very much like the same at 64. Just the end, that last crescendo into 82, continues onto the A string. And when you get to the A string, make sure you have that B flat. To do the end there at measure 97, it becomes a B natural, so you have to extend that second finger so you can get the C sharp to follow. That goes to the D, right? So I would practice it all with separate bow strokes, and then take out the doubles, just do the singles, work it up, do the doubles with the stops once you can do the singles. And then once you got that, put it all together. Whoops. And then notice when I'm doing this, it's really just in the wrist. So try not to use a lot of bow. Don't use your arm. You need to make sure it's all in the wrist. 120, we're still arco here, so no pizzicato. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, up, 2, crescendo, and 1. And that's very similar to what you have done before. The only thing is at measure 130 and 31, 32, I want you to change it to an up bow, and then the last measure we're going to crescendo into that C sharp. 136 is a fun part to play. You're always on the and of 2. 1 and 2, and 1 and 2. 2, 2. So it's fun how you play off the violin part and you also play off the bass part. So just be aware of that. And then from the end, again, practice it singles. That's 150. 150. So just practice those singles. And then once you get it, do the double with the rest. And then put it with all of the fluency. And the last note really short. So it's a lot of fun, but of course you're going to have to spend some time and practice on this one. I didn't make an excerpt because I didn't know if this was going to be doable for most of the junior high or intermediate kids. So I'd love to play it, I'd love to rehearse it on our first rehearsal, but it all falls onto you guys. So you need to make sure you find some time to practice this and look at the music. So good luck and have fun practicing.